This is how you create a new page and edit it in SPINNR. So from my WordPress installation here, simply hit add pages, add new page as usual. You create a title, so I'm going to create an about us page. And I can simply hit publish to create it and save it, and then you can go straight to editing in SPINNR. When I click edit in SPINNR, you see that it opens up in a new window, and now we are confronted with the blank canvas where we can start to make our edits. Just a quick tour. The first thing you'll notice is is that it's a blank page, and that's because there is literally nothing on the page right now. In the top, just up here, you'll see the title of the page that we've created. Down here is the plus button, and as you see, it allows us to add a section. Over here in the top left-hand corner, we have several items. So here is the structure view, which I'll show in more detail a little bit later in another video. And then here is how we can change the view so we see the responsive, like we can change the width of the screen so we can check things out in a responsive mode. On the left hand side here we have our properties panel, and that allows us to we can go back to our pages here. We have an undo and a redo, and we can publish our content, and this little toggle here hides the drawer. Up here we can one thing I skipped over before is up here we have the advanced mode, which you can toggle on or off. But just getting started, first things first, we want to get some content onto the page. So what you should do is you should click here, go down to add section, and up will pop is the library of sections and components that your developer and design team would have created for you, so you can start building your own pages. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to insert a couple of things. So down here we've got some categories. You have some blank sections, which allows you to build out your own layouts when you have some time, and we can go into that in another video. And then down the left-hand side here, you'll see that we've got some options that we can use to create pages and content. I'm going to select something fairly straightforward here. And I'm going to start creating. We can probably start creating a nice new about us page. So I might select this page here. So see how it inserts it in and inherits the font and the style of my brand, which gets configured in the brand guide. And you'll see as well now with this section, with this component in the screen, I can now select the component and the properties panel comes into play. Just a few other points on this. Now that we've got a section here, a few other things I'd like to point out. First of all, I have my section, which is highlighted here. I have move up and down, which allows me to move the sections up and down relative to other sections. That button also appears on the other individual components as I select them, but you can only move them up and down relative to the elements that they're kind of in the same box as. So if I move up or down, I can move this up so it appears above that, but I can't move it up any further, as in it can't move up and outside of this section block that you see highlight that kind of defines the boundaries of this component. So I can move it down, and it won't go underneath this image because, as you see here, that's set up to be a single block with elements inside of it. A couple of other things to point out is we have this duplicate button. So if I click that, it creates another version of that. And then of course we have the delete button, which deletes that version, that section there. And that is that these buttons appear on all the others. Of course, in this scenario, there is an edit content option, which enters me into this editing mode. Okay. Couple of other things. Now that I've got some content in here, I can show you a little bit more of what all these other buttons do. So if I just come over here to the top left hand side and we look at the structure view, you'll see that when I toggle that on and off, that these dotted lines appear, and this shows you the sort of underlying construction, the blocks that control the layout of the component or the web page. And this is really helpful because it helps you to understand how things are built. So for example, if I was to be moving this text up and down, I can now see that it won't, because I know it only works, in relationship to its siblings in this box. I can't move it any further down no matter how many times I click it, because as you can see, it's bound by a separate box to this element here. However, if I select this element, I can move it up and down relative to its siblings. And this goes a long way to just help maintain the structure, and um, it won't make it difficult, or you won't accidentally drop something somewhere where it makes it difficult to edit later. Turning the structure off for a second, the other thing that these ones here, when these buttons here that I mentioned earlier, that help us view the responsive nature of the site. This is 100% screen width. We have the desktop view, which is at 1200 pixels wide. This is the laptop at 1024 pixels wide. This is the tablet version at 768. And now you can see that our responsive rules are starting to come into play. And then if I go into my mobile view, then you can see that it gets narrowed down to there. So I'm just going to change this out to my widescreen. And that is a quick overview of the canvas.